so we promised a special guest. Let me just say, for those of you who may not remember, we had 20 years of Republican rule in the city of New York. And that started with 8 years from Rudolph Giuliani. Remember him? So we can all agree he's probably the most despicable person on the face of the earth. So let's start with that consensus. And he decided that unions were enemies, and he would negotiate with them for 0% raises. And he decided that people of color he would not even meet with, if you remember that. And he had an administration that was really not worthy of the city of New York. And then a billionaire came in and decided he was going to buy an election. So he spent his own money and he bought an election, and he had a nicer swagger to him, but he was basically the same policies. So if you were a tenant, rent-controlled tenant, you got multiple years of big increases in your rent. If you were a union, well, he did talk to you for a while, and then he decided not to talk to any union, and so all the unions had no contracts, no raises for year after year, and he wouldn't even talk to you. And he decided that he was more than the mayor, he was sort of like an emperor. That's right. So he wanted a third term, remember that? So he met with his buddies, the billionaires who controlled the New York tabloids, and he purchased himself a third term with little help from the Speaker of the City Council, despite the fact that the voters had twice enacted term limits. And he didn't care about that, but no one called him the strong-arm mayor or the anti-democratic mayor. No, they said, oh, he's great, he deserves a third term. The current mayor led the charge against that coup d'etat, which is really what it was. He came very close to defeating that. So after 20 years of this, of tenants and workers taking it on the chin, a lot of us were trying to get the paid sick leave bill passed. Year after year, they wouldn't even take a vote on it. So 3 years ago, we had finally a Democrat-elected mayor. And when he came in addition to having universal pre-K, which was a promise that he enacted, in addition to 500,000 workers now having paid sick leave, he negotiated contracts covering 90% of all the workers, fair contracts, and now they're all under contract and they're getting regular raises. That's how they do it. All I know is I spent 20 years in the wilderness. No, but I spent 20 years on the steps of City Hall begging those Republican mayors to give a little money for civil legal services so we could give poor people lawyers when they were getting evicted in court. And that money kept on going down to $2 million, and it ended up, and we couldn't service all the people that needed help. So the new mayor came in, and he appointed Steve Banks, the head of the Legal Aid Society, as head of the Human Resources Administration. And now I can say that that budget is up to $60 million in lawyer support. But I think and in my union, Giuliani tried to bust my union, I know that, but we got back at him. I'll tell you that story sometime. But I got to say one thing, and this doesn't even come out, very few people know of this. There was a case in the Supreme Court called Friedrichs. People know about that. It was a case that they wanted to rule that dues checkoff for public employees was unconstitutional. Unconstitutional. All the public service unions were threatened by this case. Scalia was the fifth vote, and they were poised to affirm that, and it would have devastated the public unions. The mayor of the city of New York, the biggest employer of any municipal workforce in the country, submitted a friend of the court brief on behalf of the unions. And then Scalia died. But in any event, that case went back. Now we're threatened again. And finally, I'd like to say last Monday, in a major speech at Cooper Union, an historic locale, the mayor put down the gauntlet to Donald Trump and said, we are a city of immigrants. We are a city that has Muslims. We are proud of that, and we are going to protect those immigrants and Muslims and do everything in the city's power to keep this a sanctuary city of New York City. A new organization based upon our principles. Those are his principles. And he wanted to come and say, thank you for doing this, good luck, and wish us and cooperate with us. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the mayor of the sanctuary city of New York. Bill de Blasio.
I asked 1,000 pardons of the panel. I'm very sorry to have interrupted your flow there, but my friends, Corey Johnson and Dick Godfrey, to all the members of the panel, all good friends, I thank you for the chance to spend a few minutes. And look, I want to say it is an extraordinarily powerful moment to be forming the Progressive Action Network. It is not, as so many have alleged, a moment of decline for progressives. It is not. It is a launching pad moment for progressives. And it is at the heart. And it is so important to gather together in unity. You know, there's a lot we have to learn from the year 2016. There are many more lessons that are getting attention right now in the immediate shock and the attempt to try and understand what's going to happen in our new federal government. But I want us to remember the whole year. I want us to remember what it adds up to. This was a year in 2016, particularly in the primary, where the needs of working people came to the fore more than any election I can think of in a long time, where the dialogue was about how do we raise wages, how do we raise benefits, how do we make sure the wealthy pay their fair share in taxes? That's what the primaries were about. And so many people in this room were part of that. It was the right discussion that this country wanted to have, and the outcome of the general election, tragically, proves that those were the issues that people wanted to hear more about, and in so many cases, they did not. But even with that being said, we also have to come back to the fact that the electoral college vote and the popular vote, that skew, that 2.5 million person difference of reality, means that this is a wide open political environment all over this country. It does not feel like, but it is wide open. So I want to combine, George very kindly talked about some of what we've been doing when I talked about Cooper Union, but I want to combine that point about what New York City's role is with the broader point about what progressives have to do in this moment of challenge, because I think the two correlate. And I want to take a moment, I was so ready to start talking, I want to thank George Albro because I really honor everything he's done and the leadership he's providing today, but he has for years and years, and so many other friends. Join me in thanking George Albro. So here is what I think the two strands come together. Progressives proved in 2016 that our ideas were the mainstream of the American debate. The Democratic Party platform reflected it in a way objectively it has never gone as far in decades towards what we believe in. And so a whole host of things happened. By the way, this was brewing, thank God, for years with things like the Fight for 15. That started as something people said was an impossibility and gathered speed. And thanks to so many people in this room, took the nation. I'm not even there yet. I'm coming to Bernie. It started I'm gonna get there, brother. It started with grassroots activism on economic issues around the country. You saw living wage fights, minimum wage increases, paid sick leave being fought out in cities and counties around the country. It crystallized, of course, and thank God, with the Bernie Sanders campaign. And then became the platform of the Democratic Party. And think about the magnitude of that. But if all of us over the years laboring in the vineyards, that combination never got put together to get to the platform of the party to dominate the national debate. And that's what the year 2015 and even more so 16 yielded. And then this tragic electoral college result. Again, not the popular vote result, the electoral college result. So I don't want us to forget everything that happened up to November 8th. Because everything that happened up to November 8th suggested the beginning of a progressive opening. And something where our ideas are penetrating and being felt and are pertinent and powerful more than ever before. And I think the experience here in New York City has proven it. Because when we did paid sick leave, when we did rent freezes, when we did pre-K for all, people in this city embraced that and believed that was the way forward. And that was about muscular progressive government. So I think it's only just begun. But now, how do we comport ourselves given this extraordinary and painful political challenge? The distillation of what I talked about Cooper Union. We all continue to stand by our people and stand by our values, and we do not allow ourselves to be changed one bit by the results of one election for one office. So here we have the chance to turn the tables, and not just in New York City, in cities all over this country. Here we have the chance to stand up. We're not going to allow our own people to be deported. We're not going to allow religious tests and religious registries, unconstitutional separation of people by religion. And when it comes to the relationship between police and community, which has been on the front burner of American life these last few years, no one is going to make us go back to a broken policy of stop and frisk. Donald Trump cannot make us do that. And we are going to fight with people all over the country who feel the same way. We are not going to let the Affordable Care Act be taken away from us. By the way, a lot of people voted for Donald Trump. If you go to them and say, okay, so now you want to give up the right for your kids to be covered until they're 26 years old, and you want to give up the right to have pre-existing conditions taken away as a way that will block you from insurance, we are going to go to people all over and say, this is what it means if you repeal Obamacare. And I guarantee you, there will be people all over this country who say, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for that. I didn't sign up to now lose insurance because I had a pre-existing condition. I didn't sign up to not be able to have my kids on insurance. That is a fight we can win. And you know that President-elect Trump will move to cut taxes for the wealthy and for corporations. Right? You know he will move to water down Dodd-Frank. At a point where economic pain caused so many people to search for radical change, do you think those people want to hear now Wall Street gets to do whatever the hell it wants? Do you think they want to hear now the 1% will get tax breaks? Or let's empower the corporations further? So we have a chance to fight, which comes back to what you're doing here. And I'll finish on this. This is why it's so important. Progressives, when we band together in common cause, we have an extraordinary ability to reach the people. Because we actually believe in knocking on doors. We believe in going to the people. We believe that when the people are educated on pure economic reality, they move in the interest of themselves, their family. Their economic self-interest means They think in terms of progressive values. That when we're talking about economic reality, we are winning. It's as simple as that. You guys are going to make a difference all over the state, and with people all over the country who feel the same way. We can win these battles. We can protect the Affordable Care Act. We can stop tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations. We can stop a repeal of Dodd-Frank. We have the majority position on those matters, if we are organized. And what you are doing today, I applaud and I commend, and I want to subscribe to and support in every way I can, because you are getting us organized to fight back and win.